Uh, so in the last session, we have seen how to set up the AEM instance in your local, and then we also seen how to build an web application. So generally, we have just discussed generally how a web application builds. Okay, so first we'll understand how difficult it is to build an web application using a normal platform, or how it is very simple going with the Adobe Experience Manager. So every time you are going, so you'll follow the same order. So if you are developing any application, we mainly need three phases, right? So first one we have seen about the front end, and then we also have the back end technologies, and then we also go for the database. So these three you have to connect in between and to get an application which we need to render on a network. Okay, so if you want to develop these applications, so if you go for the front end technologies, you'll be having HTML, right? And then you're having CSS as well as you're having JS. So if you want to write any custom validations to this HTML, so then small validations we can write with the help of JavaScript. And then after that, if I want to go for any backend language, so we can go for either Java or Python. So Java and Python are most popular web development backend languages. So you can either go for Java or else you can go for Python. Okay. So now in this case, if you are developing a web application, what is the main thing we want to store? What is the main thing we want to show to the user? So basically, it is nothing but a content, right? So this content we want to store to the user. So in order to store the content, we need to have a database. So without the database, we cannot store the content or we cannot store the content. So consider we are going for the Oracle database. Okay. So we are using Oracle database. So now in this case, whatever we are storing here, so which is nothing but the content of the web application. So whatever the content we want to show to the user, so that content we are showing to the web application. So how we can connect with, so by using Java, in order to connect with Oracle or MySQL databases, we have to learn the Java database connectivity. So with the help of JDBC, we can easily connect with the Oracle database, and then we can store our data. So any kind of form data or any kind of images. So those things we can store inside this Oracle database. But if you are going to store any data like images, so we call them as assets. So images, videos, PDFs. Okay, so whatever we are having a digital content, so that digital content is called as an assets. Okay, so to store the assets inside this Oracle database, it becomes very difficult to store them. Okay, if you are having any images, you can't store the images directly. Okay, if you want to store the image, so then we have to convert them into the XML format. We are having an image, consider. So if you want to store this image, first we have to convert them into the XML format. Okay, so without converting that into the XML format, you can't store an image inside an Oracle database. So first we have to convert that into the XML format, and once we convert that into the XML format, so then we can store inside this Oracle database. So in order to convert this into the XML format, so we have to go for XML API. So with the help of XML API, we can convert and then we can store. Okay, so now we are storing the data. Okay, now that's good. If I want to display the data, if now in order to retrieve that image and in order to display that inside a front end, so we have to follow some process. Okay, so if it is storing in the XML format, so this XML format again we have to convert into the HTML format, and after converting them into the HTML format, so then we can display that in the front end technologies. Okay, so in order to convert them, so we have to use the XML API. The XML API, we have to convert that again into the normal format, and once we convert that into the normal format, at that time we can store the image. Okay, so before what is this one? Okay, after that, if you are going, so consider we are having some data. Okay, I want to display some data. Maybe consider first name is there. Okay, so first name is one, display purpose text you can observe. Okay, and then last name or details. So this is some information I want to store inside the database. So that means I can retrieve that information from the end user, or not, or this is the display text, right? So when he sees the first name, he'll enter the first name. When he sees the last name, he'll enter the last name, right? So right now, in this case, this is the initial state where I have displayed them on the page. Okay, I have displayed the first name, last name, and employee details. So after some cases, after some amount of time, after some period of time, I want to change this text from first name to first name, or from first name to any other. So full name or full name I want to change, or employee details I want to describe. I want to segregate them into employee ID, employee name, okay, or else employee branch. Okay, so these details, if I want to segregate as well, so at that case, I have to go for again to the HTML markup, and then I have to make the changes, right? So we can't edit them directly, but with the help of AEM, so these are the basic things which we have to follow. But with the help of AEM, what we can do is we can manage this digital content, or we can manage the entire content of a web page easily. Okay, so if you are going for this AEM, so this AEM is an CMS tool. So CMS is nothing but content management system. So with the help of this content management system, whatever the content we see on the page, we can digitally manage the content. So any kind of these things we can digitally manage on the page. So AM is an CMS tool. So if you are going for a CMS tool, whatever the content we see on a page, so that is editable on the page, and then we can also store the data easily. So right now we are discussing about AEM. Okay, so apart from AEM, we also have a lot of CMS tools. So WordPress is one CML tool, WordPress is one CMS tool, Drupal, Crownpick, a lot of CMS tools are available. But when you are going for this AEM CMS tool, so we have multiple advantages. So AEM as a CMS tool provided different capabilities. So first one, it has as AEM as a CMS tool, we have two different things. One is content management system. Okay, so content management system, so content management application, and then content delivery application. So with the help of AEM, so we can manage two things. We can deliver the content to the end user, and then we can also create the content inside the other environment. So this AEM CMS tool provides these two capabilities to deliver the content, to manage the content. So that's why most of the uh, Fortune 500 companies will go for AEM as a CMS tool. So apart from the drag and drop option, we also have the content delivery network as well. So within few things, we can deliver the content to the end user. So this content management application is nothing but the author instance. Okay, so we have author, right? So we have configured author. So we need to have the author instance. For the content delivery application, so we are having the publish instance. So whatever the content we create inside the author instance, so this content will be delivering to the end user with the help of the publish instance. And apart from these two, AEM has its own storage. So in order to store the data, whatever we want to display on the page, so there is no need to go for the external database connectivity. Okay, so AEM has its own database, so which is nothing but the JCR. AEM also manages its database. So all thing in order to perform all these actions, what we need to have? So we need to have an instance running in your local. Okay. So we have to have the author instance to create the content and publish instance to deliver the content. So inside the author instance only, you can see this database to manage your digital content. So if you are going for this AEM as a in the AEM 6.5 on-premise or in AEM as a cloud service, so these are the major advantage we'll have. So first one is DAM. So DAM is nothing but digital asset management. Whatever the kind of digital content you are having, so all the digital content you can consider inside this DAM. So maybe consider images you are having, PDFs you are having, videos you are having. So any kind of content we can easily store with the help of this digital asset management. And then we can create different versions of the content as well. Okay, so this is about the digital asset management. So we can store images or videos and the PDFs, any kind of digital content. So any kind of digital content we can store inside this digital asset console, digital asset management console. And after that, it will support versioning as well. So with the same content, whatever we are having, so we can create multiple versions of the same content. So we can also drag and drop the image. Suppose I have added an image. So with the same image, I can create one more version. Okay, same image, one more version we can create, or whatever the content we are having. So same page, one more different content we can create. So it also supports versions. So if you want to automate any processes, like if you want to perform multiple steps, okay, so workflows it is having. So consider you are having a task. Okay, so that task needs to be completed by 5 persons. Okay, maybe you want to perform the task automatically whenever something has been occurred or whenever some event has been done. So at that time, you want to execute the task. So at that cases, with the help of the workflows, we can easily execute. So workflows, we can easily schedule the task to a different persons. It is a series of steps where each person will execute the things automatically. When multiple persons want to work on the same thing, so at that time, we can easily automate the task instead of notifying every person. We can easily automate that. We can easily automate the task with the help of workflows. So digital asset management versions we can create, and we can also automate the process. And after that, if you want to connect with the other marketing tools as well, so we can easily connect up. Okay. So if I want to connect with the other tools, whatever the tools we are having. So if you want to connect with other tools, maybe if you are going for any other management services, so we can easily connect with the other tools as well. Maybe consider you want to track your customer data. So whatever the data we are having, so if you want to track, so we can easily connect. Or maybe you want to create a website on multiple languages. So at that time, with the help of at that time with the help of the other marketing tools or AEM internally has an website content management system, so we can manage the content of the website there, or else we can also deploy, or else we can also connect with the other marketing tools simply. Okay, if you want to track your data, track the customer data, and provide insightful information. So Adobe internally has a lot of tools in order to perform all these actions. So if you want to connect with other marketing tools as well, so Adobe gives us a more flexibility in order to connect with the other marketing tools. So that is how a CMS application is there, and what are the capabilities we can do with the CMS application. So these are the capabilities, and whatever the content we are having, so this content can be authorable on the page, and then this content can be editable on the page. Okay. Suppose if I try to go for any page, so in the start.html, we have an option of sites. So go inside the sites. Inside the sites, you can manage all your sites content. And then we retail any page. You can just go for any page. Okay. So now consider I'm having multiple products here, or I'm having some text here. Featured products is one text I'm having. So if I want to change this text, so simply I can get the in I can simply get the in place editing. So I'm changing on the website. So now featured images have changed. So whatever the content I am having, so if you want to get this content available to the end user, so simply we can move that into the publish instance. From the publish instance, end user can evaluate this content. Suppose if I want to add one more product here, or if I want to remove two products here, so then simply I can remove from the page only. So from the page only, instead of going for the code base and changing something inside the HTML, you can directly remove those products from the place as well. So you'll get the in-place editing on page editing you'll get, so that you can just perform the actions quicker than the normal applications. If you are going for any other applications, what we have to do? So in order to perform any action, we have to go for the code base. So either if it is now, if I want to change this text, so I have to go for the HTML, and inside the HTML, I have to change the text. But if I want to change it on the page, it is not possible. But AEM gives us the permission to make the changes on the page. If I go for any heading, okay. So if I'm changing the heading here, so automatically the heading changes here. So if you want to perform any action, suppose I have an image here. Okay, so if you want to change this image, whatever the images we are having, so if you want to change this image, so at that time simply I can go there and you can drag and drop the image. So with the help of the digital asset console, we are able to change the images. So digital asset console gives us the permission to add and order the images on the page itself. So simply I can drag and drop the images. So those images will be available to the container with a perfect length. So consider we are having some link. Okay, maybe if I hit on this all men products, it will take you to a different page, right? So these are nothing but the links. So if I want to change the target of the link, so target is nothing but on which page I want to open or which content I want to open. So with the help of AEM, so we can also configure the links as dynamic. So we can configure the images as dynamic. We can configure the text as well as we can also configure the pages which we want to open on a particular clicker. So here maybe internally they have an anchor tag or a button. Okay, so if you want to change the content where the thing should go, so then simply you can change the link here. So right now it is going for men and shirts, right? So if you want to change the thing, I can go to this path browser, and inside this path browser I can just go for the about us page. So now if I hit on this one, if I hit on this image, so now it will try to go to the whatever the link we have configured, so it will go to that particular link. So that is with the help of the digital asset management, so that is with the help of website content management. So if I want to add, so not only this one, so right now I'm able to delete this content as well. Suppose if I'm having any content, so I can delete the content, or if I want to add any new content as well, we have something called as an parses component or a container component. Parses component is an older name, we call them as container component. So with the help of this container component, you can add the content to the page. So right now I want to add an image or I want to add a text. So here I have text, right? So I'll delete this one. Okay. So I want to add a text again here. So then simply I can come here and then I can add whatever the content I want to add. I can add the content. Maybe if I want to add a teaser here. So now I'm adding a teaser component, and if I want to author it, so you can simply author it. Whatever the content I want to author, I can just drag and drop an asset here. So simply come here and then drag and drop an image. Okay. So we can go there and then you can author the text as well. So title, anything, any title you can specify. Okay. So maybe if you want to get that an image on the image as well, it is possible. Okay, so that is how we can specify the content. So whatever the content we are having, so actually we can create the same thing after specifying a link in here. Suppose if I want to make the changes here, so I can go to the layout container. Inside this layout container, I can actually adjust the size of the teaser component I want as well. So this is the size, actual size which it is displaying here. So if you want to alter the size as well, so then on the page only I can alter the size. So everything, whatever we are creating, so everything is responsive. So it will fit for an desktop screen. It will fit for an images. Okay, so this is how a mobile screen look like. So if I go for an iPhone or a tablet, so then this is how the content will deliver to the end user. If I'm going for an iPad desktop, so then this is how the content will be delivered to an desktop. So for every time you are going, so you will be creating the content as well responsive. Okay, so we'll be creating the responsive content so that it will fit to every type of content we are delivering. Okay, so maybe for an image or maybe for a mobile view, maybe for a desktop view or a laptop or a bigger screen. So easily we can deliver the content with the help of this website content management. So whatever the content we are having here, so everything is auditable. So right now we have made the changes. So I have gone to the code base. I haven't made any changes to the code, right? So I'm editing this content on the page only. So if you want to get this content available to the end user, so how we can get? So as I said before, so there is no need to go for the other technologies to deliver the content to the end user. So AEM has its own content delivery application, right? So CDA, which is nothing but your publish instance. So whatever the content we are having here, so this content we are inside the author instance. So how can I say I'm in the author instance? Localhost 4502. So 02 means event port number. That means we are in the author instance. Every time if you are going to author instance, will have the even port numbers, and publish instance will have the odd port numbers. Okay, and then you can't edit any content inside the publish instance. Okay, so what does the publish instance contain? Publish instance contain only the ready made code, so only whatever the code we are having, so which is ready to deliver to the end user, so that content only will be available on the publish instance, and you will not have any authoring environment in the publish instance. You cannot author the content inside the publish instance. So once you have these things, once you have created the image and once you have these things, so if you want to get this content available to the end user, so at that case, here we have an option of publish page. So here we have a page information, and inside this page information tab, hit on this publish page option. Once you hit on this publish page option, so automatically the content will be available to the end user. So it will be available to the end user from the publish instance. The content will be available to the end user. So if you want to get the changes to the content, if you want to see the changes, whether they are deliverable or not, so you can just go to the publish instance and you can turn on the publish instance and check. So publish CQ other 4503. Try to turn on your publish instance as well. Right now, this is a language master, right? So consider we are having a lot of pairs. I'll try to open United States, English and men. Okay. So these are the child pairs or language specific pairs which have been created for the different websites here. Okay. So for the US region, so we have two languages. One is English and then Espanol is one language we are having. Okay. So for country specific regions as well. So region specific content as well we can deliver. So if I go for Canada, French is there, Switzerland, maybe Italian, Dutch, and then France is there. So whatever the language we are having, so there is no need to separately create the content for these language. So we can now once we have created this master project, so means with the help of this master variation, we can create n number of language specific variations. Not only these five or six. So you can create around 100 region specific language or 10 region specific language we can create. So in order to create them as well, so there is no need to make any changes. So we have the inbuilt language translator. So with the help of the language translator, we can convert this language and then we can deliver to the end user. Suppose if I'm having an English here, right? So in the language masters, I'm having English. Okay. So do you think that again I'm trying to create the English page again here? So because language masters is the same content. Okay, whatever the content you see in the language master English or United States English or Canadian English, so all the payers are same. All the content for this region is also same. But if I'm specifying or if I'm trying to create again these payers, so to create the page to order the page, it takes a lot of time, right? So instead of doing that, we can create live copies as well. Okay. So based on this base website, so whatever the child pages you see here, so we can easily create them as an live copies. And once we create them as a live copies as well, they will have a connection in between them. So right now, if you see here, so language masters enmen.html, right? So that is the page. Here we can see we retail usenmen.html. You can see, right? So this is we have a different content here. So here I'm having a different. Here I'm having men. Here if I go here, I'm having men header 2.4. Here I have removed some products and at the end I have added some one more teaser I have added. So whatever the content you see here, so we can see a different content in between these two things. So I can see a different content here and then I can see the different content here. So if you want to get the change, if you want to get all these changes reflected to these sub child pairs as well. So this is a copy which was created from the language masters. Okay. So US is a copy which is created from the language masters. So if you want to get these changes to these copies as well, so there is no need to perform lot of things. Okay, there is no need to add manually as well. So here we have an option of rollout. So rollout page is one option we are having. So you can just select this rollout page option and then you can click on OK. So once you click on OK, the page has been successfully rolled out. So with the help of the rollout, actually we can push the content changes to the child pages or the live copy pages, whichever we are having. So now if you observe, the content has been available to the EN page. So USEN men.html. So the content is available here. Why the content is not there? Because so this is something which I have added specific to this page. Okay. So this is some content which I've added specific to this page. So that's why all the content is this content has not been removed. Suppose if I want to remove here, so then I can have the permission to remove from here only. So not only the same page for this region, if I want to add some more specific content as well, so we can add some more specific content to that particular region. So not only the same thing we can display. So this is how you can change the content. So but whatever the content I have changed it here, so maybe we'll try to see the same content inside the publish instance. So this is the publish instance 4503. So inside this publish instance, right now we are in the US page. Okay. So we are in the US region only. So go to men. So we retain USEN men.html. So if I go here, the content is also different, right? So because whatever the changes we have made in the author instance, so those changes are not available on the publish instance. So we have to get these changes into this publish instance. So if I want to get the changes to the publish instance, so at that case, how we can do that? So at that case, we have to go for the So at that case, just go to the page where the content is there, not language masters, USCNN, HTML, and then go to page information tab. And here we have an option of publish page. Okay. So here we have an option of publish page. So go to this publish page option. And now it says that the page has been published. Now, if I try to refresh here, the content is available. So without going any to the code base, so the content is available to the end user. So whatever the content that is specific here, so that content is available to the end user. So we have a teaser. Okay, so this content is available to the end user. So which is something specific to the particular user only. So why this teaser is not there? Because there is no inheritance in between them. Suppose if I try to get the inheritance again, synchronize all the pairs and retrieve the inheritance. Okay, so now if I try to refresh, okay. So we are having the product. So again, if I try to go there and if I try to roll out the content, so we have multiple options to roll out. We re-enable inheritance. Click on yes. Okay, so if you observe here, the content has been changed. So without any things, so we can actually change the content. We can roll out the content between multiple pages. So now it says featured data because it is something ordered in this page. So again, if I try to inherit the from the parent page, so simply I can just retrieve inheritance. Once if I retrieve inheritance, then whatever the data that is there on the page parent page, so that data will be available to the child page as well. So this is some content changes, right? So if you want to get these content areas, so simply you can go to the page information and then here we have an option of publish page. So inside this publish page option, you can actually publish the content to the end user. So the content will be available to the end user. So from the end user, the from the end user will fetch the content from the publish instance. So that's why all the stable content will be available on the publish instance. So you can't edit the content here. Whatever the content changes you want to make, so those content changes you have to make inside the author instance only. So once you have made the content changes to the author instance, so then that will be available to the end user. So how the end user will access, we'll see. Yeah. Okay, suppose if the end user wants to access the content, so how the end user will access the content? So on the right, on the left hand side, we have the authors. Okay, so authors are nothing but the content creators or the developers. We can say them as authors. So these authors will be creating the content inside the author instance. Okay, authors will be creating the content inside the author instance, and once they have created the content inside the author instance, we have some configuration called as an replication agent. So with the help of this replication agent, so what they will do is, so they will push the content from author instance to the publish instance. Once you hit on the publish page, so at this time this replication action is being performed, and once the replication action is being performed, so that content we are pushing to the publish instance. So basically, once we create the content, so this content is available to the every publish instance. So we have to push the content to the every publish instance. So now what does the publish instance contain? All the latest and the stable code is the content which is inside the publish instance, fully developed, fully refactored code, whatever we are having. So the entire developed content will be available on the publish instance. And once we have a visitor to the website, so this visitor will be accessing the website. So visitors are nothing but the end users. Okay, maybe a customer who is visiting our page to buy some product. So once we make a request, so to load a particular product or to load a home page, so at this case, so this request will be forwarded to the dispatcher inside the web server. Okay, so inside the web server, AEM gives one more configuration called as a dispatcher, which will manage the load on these publish instances. Okay, so it provides a lot of capabilities which we will discuss. Okay, so once the replication action has been performed, so if the end user is getting if the end user wants to fetch the content from the publish instance, so now the request will be going to the dispatcher, and this dispatcher will go to the publish instance and fetch the content. So they are making a request. So this request is transferred to the dispatcher, And once the dispatcher goes to the publish instance and gets the response. So this response is nothing but the web page which is delivered to the end user. So not one user, right? We have multiple users. Not one user will be there. Multiple users will be there. So every time any user is making some request, so this request will forward it to the dispatcher in the web server, and then from the dispatcher, the it will go there and it will fetch the content. And once it fetch the content, that content will be available to the end user. Okay, so that is how we can serve the content between auto instance and the publish instance. So that is how the end user will reach that is how the content will reach to the end user in an AEM application. So we have different things: author, publish, and then so these are the two main things we will be working on. Any questions? Any questions from online?